This is the Xiaomi Watch 5, and it can do some pretty cool things like gestures. I even found out how to play Fortnite on it, and I'll show you how I did that later. For now, let's start with the specs, because on paper, this watch is kind of a beast. So the Watch 5 is currently being sold for £270, which is roughly $350. As a comparison, you have the Samsung Galaxy Watch 8, which is also £270 and has similar sort of specs, but obviously it doesn't have Google OS like the Watch 5. Also, you have from Apple the Apple Watch Series 11, which is more expensive, but that's the closest in comparison at £370. Now, a smartwatch battery is typically around the 500 mAh mark, and with some larger watches being 700 mAh. This is 930 mAh, and they're able to achieve this with the new silicon carbon batteries, which you find in some smartphones. They're finally bringing it to smartwatches, which is great to see. A typical smartwatch that has the Google Wear OS will last about 1 to 2 days of battery life. This lasts up to 6 days, and with always on display, it lasts about 4 days. Now, I've been testing it really hard, and I've been getting about 3 days of battery life without the always on display, but I've been testing this to its fullest. Every sensor is on, all the time tracking. I go out and use it for sports and other tracking metrics just to test everything about it, and I'm getting about 3 days battery life. So in my normal routine, I expect about 4-5 days of battery life, which is really impressive if you compare it to other watches in the same category with the same OS lasting like 1 day. Now, the screen is a 1.54-inch AMOLED screen, so it's really big, and the diameter of the watch itself is 47 millimeters. So it is a big watch with a big screen. It is really bright though at 1500 nits of peak brightness. It's also got incredible detail, so it's really bright, it's really sharp, and just a great screen for a smartwatch. Also, to add, they use sapphire glass on the front and also the back where the sensors are, and that is incredibly scratch resistant. It's actually a 9 on the hardness scale, with the only thing being harder is diamonds. Now, as this is using Wear OS from Google, you can download all your favorite apps right to your smartwatch and use them from your smartwatch, which is an incredible feature. And it's able to do that with the Snapdragon W5 Gen 1, which isn't the newest chip for smartwatches or smart devices. It's actually a couple of generations old at this point, but it's still powerful enough and snappy enough to be incredibly responsive, and it allows you to have a 60 Hz refresh rate, which is just obviously making everything super smooth. So the Watch 5 has all the sensors. It can track your heart rate, steps, sleep, blood oxygen level. The only thing it can't track is blood pressure, and even the smart watches or smart rings that say they can track that, they can't really. It's not really a technology they've mastered just yet. So this will track everything that you need it or expect it to. And it also has dual band GPS. So if you are tracking a run or navigation through maps, it'll be far more accurate. With all those sensors, you can track up to 150 different sports, including swimming because it is waterproof, and it goes to a depth of 50 meters. So the Watch 5 has so many incredible features, one of them being you can operate the camera from your smartphone with the watch. And with that, you can do screen mirroring to see exactly what the camera sees on your watch. With that, I had the thought, if I aimed my phone at my monitor, loaded up Fortnite, could I play Fortnite on my smartwatch? It turns out you can. I don't know why you would, because even though this is a big screen in terms of smart watches, it's a really small screen in terms of monitors. So even though it is possible, it's pretty difficult. Some other really cool features come in the form of gestures. So if I have a phone call and I don't want to answer, I can simply pinch my fingers together twice and it will cancel the call. If I have an alarm going and I pinch my fingers twice, it will snooze my alarm for a few minutes. Or if I rub my fingers together, it will stop the alarm altogether. There's loads of gestures you can use in different apps like this, where you just pinch your fingers together a couple of times or rub your fingers a couple of times and it will do an action. That is just mind-blowing that we have that technology in a smartwatch like this, especially at the price point of £270. That's just insane value. Now, hopefully you can see what I mean by on paper, the specs are just insane. It has some of the best materials used in smartwatches, what I would argue is one of the better operating systems for smartwatches as well. It has a ton of features, including gestures I've never seen before on other smartwatches, and also the control you have of your smartphone through your smartwatch is just insane. It also has other useful benefits that lots of other smartwatches has, but this one also has is like Google Wallet. You can pay with your smartwatch. It also has an offline mode for Google Maps, so you can download maps. So if you don't have your smartphone and you don't have signal, you can still see maps and still get navigation to wherever you want to go if that map is downloaded already. So many incredible helpful things, but it also has loads of watch faces for free, and there's loads of customization you can do on those watch faces, but also how the smartwatch functions in terms of the different tiles. You can set different tiles, different orders. There's so much customizability of the smartwatch, which I love because you can make it your own and make it as useful as you can for how you want to use it. Now, if I finished the review there, this would be the perfect smartwatch and go out and buy it. But that's not the case because there is a few things that did quite annoy me with this smartwatch. The first one was connecting for the first time. It was so painful to connect this smartwatch. I have a Xiaomi phone, so the same brand smartphone, and even this was really difficult to connect for the first time. So it does have the fast pair from Google. So when I turned on the smartwatch for the first time, it did say, there's a new smartwatch, do you want to pair? Straight away. It's just when I said to pair, it failed, and then failed, and then failed, and then I tried it through the app, and it failed. I then reset everything, rebooted everything, and it failed a few more times. But after like 100 tries, it eventually worked, and there was a software update, so maybe it was some sort of software update with the smartwatch that it needed that made it a bit more difficult, but that was just infuriating. I will say, now that it is connected, it does pair seamlessly and it does update and sync seamlessly, and I haven't had a problem since, but it's just that first connection felt like just impossible. A few other things with the tracking and the sensors. I've noticed that the sleep tracking, even though it works really well when I wake up, activity in the night and when I fall asleep, it's not so accurate. I obviously have another smartwatch which I wear as my main smartwatch all the time. This I found incredibly accurate. This is a Withings watch. I absolutely love it. It is one of the more accurate watches I've ever used. And for sleeping, it does a really good job. So if I wake up in the night because I've got a very young daughter, it'll tell me that I woke up in the night, even though I already know I have. Where this watch, it doesn't. It doesn't say I woke up at all, which is not right. Also, when I go to sleep, sometimes this can be off by an hour. A whole hour difference. So where I've actually slept for 7 hours, it'll say I have actually slept for 6 because it gets the sleep start time wrong. And the last nitpicky one is the accuracy of steps. Now, with smart devices, steps are really difficult and they can be all over the place. And it is in the right ballpark, but it seems to be a few hundred steps over what it should be, which is really weird because the GPS is one of the best tracking I've ever seen on a smartwatch, but then the steps are slightly out. So in terms of the accuracy of a lot of the sensors and tracking, I put an asterisk next to quite a few of them just because I don't necessarily trust it to be 100% accurate. Not that smartwatches will be, it's just not as accurate as some other devices I've used. And this is where my recommendation will differ and split off. If you are a fitness guy or fitness girl and you love stats and you want everything to be as accurate as humanly possible, I'd maybe avoid this one because I wouldn't necessarily trust all of the stats that it gives you. But if you're someone who just loves functionality and you want rough ideas on your stats to know that it's roughly right, it's not going to be massively out, but it's not also going to be 100%, but you love the functionality, you want to use all your favorite apps, get all your notifications and get all of that control on your smart watch for your smartphone, this is definitely the smartwatch for you, especially at that price, £270. That is such a competitive price for what you get and all the features you get with it. But that, guys, is the review. I'd love to know what you think of this smartwatch down below in the comments. Don't forget to like and share this video, and I'll see you guys next time.